Joining me now is not a TikTok star, but the Republican senator from the great state of Wisconsin, Senator Johnson. Thanks for joining me. So listen, you have run really tough races in Wisconsin and you've won. Does this strategy make sense to blame Putin for rising gas prices, but then also to use TikTok stars to deliver that message to young people in America?
Well, Sean, first of all, it's good to be on your show here. The radical left and the Democrat Party, they're pretty much one and the same, have become very practiced at propagandizing and indoctrinating our children. And so this is just the basically the latest example of doing that. I went on that TikTok stars page, and it's going to be pretty effective. That individual, I think, has some of her TikTok videos 10 million views. I think that particular one had about 500,000 views. So we've certainly seen how the Democrat Party, the radical left, has used our education system to indoctrinate our children. So it doesn't surprise me they're using social media. And let's face it, the social media big tech giants, they are also of the radical left. Take a look at what Mark Zuckerberg did, spending almost $500 million taking over control over, for example, the election offices in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So the media, the big tech social media giants, they are basically the communication apparatus of the Democrat Party of the radical left, and this is just one further example of that.
You know, I think it's one of these issues where the Democrat Party believes that even young kids who may fill up a tank of gas didn't understand that prices were rising over the course of Joe Biden's presidency. Even before the Ukraine war, they have to basically rely on a stupid group of young people who don't know the truth. I mean, I guess I don't get that.
Well, again, when you've been indoctrinating our children for, since kindergarten, it's probably a little bit easier to pull the wool over their eyes. But, you and I both know, and I hope the American public understands that well before Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine, because he was tempted by all the weakness of this administration, Democrat policies, the gasoline prices were rising because of those policies, because of Democrat war on fossil fuel, the cancellation of the Keystone XL pipeline. We just saw a Federal Reserve nominee withdraw because she wanted to enact through the Federal Reserve policies the restriction of capital into our fossil fuel industries. Fortunately, we had Joe Manchin side with Republicans and said we're not going to confirm that individual, but they'll continue to do this through other agencies as well. So this is a war on fossil fuel. It increased the cost of not only gasoline, but other energy. Energy is a component of basically every good and service. It's also helping spark inflation together with the out-of-control deficit spending, which has now sparked a 40-year high, 7.9% inflation. But that's not the worst of it. Producer Price Index, that report just came out, 10.08%, which is a harbinger of future inflation to come.
And also, Ron, if you look at our home state of Wisconsin, we have a lot of farms, a lot of dairy farms, and the energy use on farms is really intensive. And so that's going to translate into the costs of everything we buy at the grocery store. But I want to get your take on this. A Washington Congresswoman, Kim Schreier, saying that Putin should be exclusively blamed for rising gas prices. Take a listen, and I want you to react.
Right now, in the last 2 weeks, this is Putin. You should be blaming Putin, if anybody, for this. And to not blame Putin, first of all, is denying reality. And second, frankly, I think is un-American. So this is Putin's fault.
So, Senator, I would tell you that attacking American energy is actually un-American. But what do you think about a U.S. Congresswoman saying that attacking Joe Biden for rising gas prices is what, un-American?
Well, being a loyal Democrat, that's exactly what she would say, and that's, of course, what she wants the American people to believe. Well, listen, there's no doubt about that Putin's invasion of Ukraine is icing on the cake and has driven gasoline prices even higher. But that all began because of Democrat policies which have been disastrous for America. We can list them off: opening the border, flood of illegal immigrants, the out-of-control deficit spending, $1.9 trillion on a partisan COVID relief package, $700 billion not even spent to the out years, rising crime, the embarrassing and dangerous surrender in Afghanistan. All of these actions, all of these Democrat policies have weakened America, tempting tyrants like Putin to take advantage of the situation. But again, it's their policies that primarily sparked inflation.
You know, what you see the Democrats continue to do, Senator, is they always go back to Russia. So after they lost the 2016 election, Hillary Clinton was a horrible candidate. Donald Trump had a message that resonated with the American people. What did they do? They blamed it on Russia and drafted up some scam that Donald Trump had colluded with Russia. Now with gas prices, again, it's Russia's fault. It seems like every bad thing that Democrats do, whether it's a race or our economy, they want to go back to Russia.
That it's their policies that are causing all these problems. And they knew they were going to cause these problems. I mean, when you dismantle all the successful programs at the border, when you stop building the wall, you're going to get illegal immigration. When you print trillions of dollars that we don't have and spend that money on programs that incentivize people to stay on the sidelines and not enter the workforce, exacerbating our supply shortage, you're going to spark inflation. And of course, when you have an embarrassing and dangerous surrender in Afghanistan, that's going to, again, tempt tyrants to take advantage of the situation. Taiwan.